Welcome back to my garden for my fall garden tour of October 21st. I'm going to show you what has survived our night or two of light frosts and all those seedlings I've been promising to show you. Today's the day. We're going to look at them and their progress. I have been throwing seeds everywhere in the last couple months, and we have some good survivors. So I'll also show you some failures. You'll see some progress on things I transplanted, how they're doing. But overall, it's looking like it'll be a really good fall, and I'm excited to show you where things are at. So here's my first full sun bed, and there's not much to see right here, but I did plant a lot of fava beans, and then I planted one last round of cherry bell radishes. So these are Windsor fava beans, and they should overwinter. And the cherry bells are like a gamble. And I have them covered because I'm worried the squirrels will dig it up if they know that if they see it exposed. Here I have a little direct sown dill. It's not looking amazing, but it hasn't died, so I'm just trying to keep it watered. It's trying to push out a true leaf. And then behind that I have some beets direct sowed. These guys, they should be robin beets. They should all be robin beets, which are supposed to be their hybrid, quick growing beet, but they were shaded out by peppers for a long time, so I think they're behind because of that. And I had some spotty germination, probably from lack of water, but there's even some back here. So I'll have little patches of beets. But these leafier things are some arugula, and it's actually time for me to start picking that. All direct sown. I was feeling really tired into summer. This interesting little patch is more direct sowing. These are some radishes, some quick radishes. I actually saw one had a decent little bulb today. I'm not going to pick it yet because I think this one's a German giant, but it's so nice. The others are thickening up, but they're not producing radishes yet. And these all were shaded. I didn't mean for my hand to be in the way. And then I've got some direct sown kohlrabi, which I've never grown, but I got it for $1 from My Gardener, so I threw a bunch of seeds down. I was worried I was too late, but they've been doing okay so far. No bulbing yet. They're a little leggy, which I think might have been from being shaded out earlier. And then I have some direct sown cilantro, which is getting attacked recently. Probably my friends, the roly-polies. And then I have some kohlrabi that I thinned, and I just decided to plant, so we'll see if those do anything. I went over to my next full sun bed. I've got some more things going on. So here in the front, I have some lettuce. This was all direct sown, and it really has caught up to the lettuce in the shade garden. I mean, this Marvel of Four Seasons is really good size already. And this red tango lettuce is a little slower. And the lettuce that I sowed right here didn't germinate, so I'm trying again. This was actually going to be bib lettuce, but it didn't germinate. And I just recently put some more lettuce seeds in there to see if those would grow. And then next to it, I have some of my largest beet seedlings. These are Chioggia beets. They were not shaded out, so you can see how nice and big they are. They're really healthy looking plants. There's more of them. Some more back there. I tried to do spinach right here, but none of it germinated. You know, temperatures are really difficult. I have had trouble getting cilantro, so I threw more down there a couple days ago. And this is some direct sown pak choi. It makes me laugh to think about last fall when I transplanted it, because it did great with direct sowing. The only reason it's patchy is because the roly-polies ate some of them. But now that it's getting colder, the roly-polies seem less active, and some of these are really cute. Little pak choi. And then along back, I planted some herbs that I knew would get tall. I planted some dill. Transplanting dill for me always works out better. Got three of those. I think I mislabeled because I thought a lot of these were cilantro, but they're definitely parsley. But I haven't had enough parsley this year, so it's probably good that I accidentally put some in full sun. And then along here I've got some cherry bell radishes, French breakfast radishes. They're thinking about bulbing up. More radishes. And then I have some arugula, which is really spotty in germination, and I never thinned it. So maybe I should still thin it. And the last thing over here is my watermelon radish. This is my second sowing. My first sowing only had one survivor, and I recently pulled him, but these are starting to look nice and big. They just have those skinny little roots, so they're nowhere near close to forming anything yet. I wanted to show you what this is. I'm planting these corms. It's like corn but with an M instead of an N. From my elephant garlic. I'm planting them. You can see lots of them. I've got this whole patch of soil here covered with them, 2 or 3 inches apart. Going back down, I just want to show you, I'm about to plant these, and from what I've read and from what I've seen and talked about with my family who also grows elephant garlic, is this will sprout, and I can show you an example of that in a minute. And then the first year it really doesn't do much, but in a couple years this could turn into a whole giant, elephant garlic clove. You just have to give it time. So I had so many this year, I didn't want to throw them out. I've decided just to plant them and get a little miniature patch of elephant garlic going. I'll show you what a little sprout looks like. There in the middle, this is one of the corms of elephant garlic. I didn't plant this. It must have fallen off the elephant garlic bulb when I pulled it out. And I've added like 3 inches of soil, maybe 4 inches of soil to this bed. So this little corm grew through like 4 inches of soil, just popped up here in early October. So you can see some sad little beets. My transplants aren't really doing much back here. I don't think there's enough sun, so I won't be planting beets back here again. You see other ones, sad little beets. But my peas are doing just fine. I think they've started grabbing each other. Some of them have had bent and the tips died, but most of them are not like that. These peas here are also doing well. I have yet to see a bloom, but I think they are reaching their mature height at this point. Coming around the trellis, you can see that one more little wall of peas. These are all of my fall peas for the year. I just, as a formality, I'm showing you that I've planted all my garlic here. And I have a stick marking where my row is. So this is where my garlic will come up, maybe here in the next month or two. So next to the pea bed, my little garlic section, and the rest is empty. And then I have my green onions, some of which have bulbed up. A lot of these are onions from the grocery store that I've planted. They have little bulbs down there. So they haven't died. Some of them bloomed in the spring. I even saved seed from some of them. But they're still producing greens, so I'm just leaving them alone. It's kind of nice to have all the green onions you could want. So this is the shade garden right now. I'll show you what's going on back here. This right side is just my herb patch. Nothing has dramatically changed. I think the herbs are getting a little tired. I've got some thyme here and here, common thyme, lemon thyme, some Greek oregano covered by leaves, some parsley, but I don't think it likes how little sun it gets. Green onion, a big patch of common oregano. And then I have a few nasturtiums. It has technically gotten down to freezing a couple of times, but the nasturtiums have been fine. They are not frost hardy. I just think it hasn't frozen back here. I think either they've been protected or it just hasn't frozen enough to actually matter. I do have a few more parsley plants back here. These are a little happier. These guys also were not on irrigation, so they went a few weeks without water. I kind of forgot they weren't on irrigation. I have a little patch of green onions here. My rosemary. This guy almost died in a pot, and then I realized it was root bound, so it is happy out here. There's another little thyme plant I have propagated. Another rosemary I propagated off of this guy last winter. These are my foxgloves. I started over winter last year. Some parsley, some oregano. And then turning here, there are the corms of elephant garlic that I have showed you already. I have my one chichima seed that really is doing anything. It's such a beautiful little plant. The unfortunate thing is the roly-polies like to eat it. So, like this little guy next to him got chewed down to nothing. I guess he's trying to make a comeback. So I do like these. I just think anything that's vulnerable to roly-polies is a high-risk plant for me. I have a marigold that's still hanging on. It makes me really think it didn't freeze back here because he doesn't even look damaged. Those are my snapdragons. All snapdragons. It's going to be really good. They're nice and big. I've pinched all my snapdragons. It is so worth it if you're growing snapdragons from seed to pinch them. See right, this one I pinched there in the middle where my finger's moving, and he's growing all these side shoots. Here's a more dramatic example. So I pinched right there, and he's got these two big fronds coming up. So, snapdragons. It's the tall deluxe mix from Fairy Morse, and it's the apple blossoms from In My Gardener. Now, swiveling around, you see a few more foxgloves, but I'll show you what's on the other side here. So this patch right here, some broccoli. I had them covered for a while, hence the hoops. But once I planted my kale, I prioritized them for the coverings. But I think we really covered them through the worst part. I haven't seen, but maybe, I don't think I've seen a caterpillar on these this year. Something has been chewing on some of them, but not badly enough that I'm worried about it. I have been spraying BT once in a while. I was thinking about spraying it today, tonight. So I've got the couple different kinds of broccoli. Got Deciso or DeChico, and then I've got Waltham 29. So broccoli as well. A little bit smaller. You can tell there's a variety change. But then I have some collards. These are my Alabama collards. A little bit of a purpling to the veining. This one is supposed to be an Alabama collard, but it's totally green, so I think it's a different kind of collard that got mixed in, which is totally fine with me. So I have these collards here, but I have some Georgia collards in my tunnel, and I'm having so much fun covering my greens because I really don't like when my kale just got all those little bugs on it. Who does, you know? So I'll probably take these off here soon. Something is in there. That's what made me think I need to spray BT, because this guy's got some holes on his leaves. But I have different kinds of kale. I have Blue Dazzle and Nero Toscana and Blue Curled Scotch, Thousand Head, all sorts of kale. And yes, it's a lot of kale, but I eat a lot of kale. And my husband actually likes kale when it's cooked. And in salads, he'll eat it either way. So it's way cheaper and honestly better quality than when I get at the grocery store. My grocery store kale has been really buggy and gross, so I just gave up and I've decided to wait. I picked my first kale here recently. Now, toward the front, I'd change it up. I've got some rapini, broccoli rabe. I can't grab it like I want to, but there it is, there's one. And then in the very back, I have some Georgia Southern collards. I didn't have enough row covering for it all. So here's a really nice rapini. It's the best one I've ever had. I don't know what it's thinking about doing. Actually, it's thinking about either bolting or producing some sprouts for me. I'm not sure if that's going to be bolting or not. But behind it, I have my Georgia Southern collards, which can get rather large. These up front were the smallest. Something dug him up, so he's still wilting from it a few days later. I'm going to probably water him today. But Georgia Southern collards can get massive, like side of the palm of my hand for each leaf. So these are just babies. I haven't picked anything from them yet. So in the shade garden, I just want to show you this middle row right here. I have my lettuce transplants that are actually good enough to eat now. They're large enough. This was a success, but it started out pretty badly because I ripped them all out of that seed cell tray. I just sowed a bunch of dirt with seeds and then like teased each one out. So like about a good third of them didn't survive. But I have the green tango, which is really fun leaf. I've enjoyed these. Once you see that each stem, it does lead to a pretty good sized leaf. I have some, I believe, I don't know if I labeled this well. Oh yeah, this is black seeded Simpson, which is okay. I think this one's bolting. So they've been in the ground for a while. I have some more green tango. This should be the Marvel of Four Seasons. Looking pretty rough. Again, also pests were digging around here. Squirrels were digging. So there's this sad little one that probably got dug up a couple times. And then you see back there some more black-seeded Simpson. And I've got some chives that need to be trimmed. They are too tall. But it's nice having salads again. Now moving a little further in, some blank space, and then I have some chamomile. It's German. This is an annual. So, wow, that one's getting tall. I don't think they're going to bloom this winter. I think they're going to just slow down here and then really take off in early spring like mine last year did. But these are way bigger than the ones I planted last year, so they might actually try to bloom this winter. I'm not sure. They have done well out here in the shade garden, so to say. They're the same size as mine in the pots that I have. And then I'm happy to say I did get some Swiss chard to survive the roly-poly war of the late summer. It's really pretty. I haven't eaten any yet. It's just now getting big enough to where I was like, oh wait, I can like pick that leaf and add some color to my salad. But this is the botanical interest mix. And I've got some reds. That seemed to be a common germinating one. And then I've got two yellow ones that survived. So yeah, I think these are just gonna hunker down. I don't know if they'll survive a super hard frost. We don't get much lower than 26. But it would be nice to have some big tall ones right next to my beautiful, soon to be beautiful foxgloves that I started from seed. That was just bountiful. So the shade garden is doing just fine, even though we're coming into winter. I wanted to give you an update on my pots. I just watered them. I fertilized them the other day just so they're set for the winter. I realized it had been months since I fertilized, so better now than never. I have some lavender, pretty dry and crispy where the flower buds were, but it smells good. My fig tree lost all of its leaves, but the frosts were not that bad. All the fruit that's remaining still looks okay. So I'm really curious, there you go, if the fruit will ripen. Isn't that funny? Just little sticks with fruit on it. And then I have some parsley. I have some cilantro. Over here, my lemon balm is regrouping, looking nice again. It was really bad looking for a while this summer. The mint, though, it hasn't ever looked this bad. So I don't know what to do with that. I have both parsley and cilantro seeds in here, so whatever comes up wins. I have a couple pots with more chamomile, and I was wrong. This is my biggest chamomile, I want to say. Here are the wasabi radishes I got from Baker Creek in September. They already are putting out their fourth leaves, but I don't see any significant roots yet. I have some Greek oregano. I have some parsley. This is evidence that we did actually freeze. This is a French marigold, and you can see some frost damage, but the bud is okay. This guy hasn't bloomed yet. He was a little thing. I'm kind of curious to see what it does now that it has a few weeks without frost in the forecast. And I have some dill seedlings. They haven't been doing much, so I fertilized them the other day. They are not looking great. But my chocolate mint looks great. This is so fun. I have more lavender. This is Spanish lavender. And then I have caraway planted here. My husband requested that we try caraway because we found some seeds that were on clearance. So nothing to show there yet. And then my sage. Some of it's looking a little crispy. I don't know if that's frost damage or if that particular stalk was dying back already. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing and liking this video, and let me know how your fall garden is going down here in the southern US. I know we can grow for a little while longer. Again, thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing.